This is Cadet Week. We have C, and we have the Army, and we're still waiting for the air to come in.
They had the wrong night, sir.
Oh, they had the wrong night. Well, listen, I'm glad I'm not depending upon the air to for my protection, then, eh?
No, sir.
How's that?
Only if we're affiliated with the Army.
At least I've got the Army and I've got the sea. Okay, this is, of course, Cadet Week, and certainly on behalf of the residents of the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, I just want to recognize the cadet movement, and I want to recognize all of the volunteers that make this possible, and the many hours of work that they put in shaping and molding the lives of our young people, and we certainly have very outstanding youth in our community, and many of them are trained by the best, which are our volunteers. And certainly I want to put a plug in, a shout out to anybody listening. We are live tonight, that if you have a child that's interested in getting into an organized group for advancing the skills of citizenship and leadership, and certainly getting involved in the community, then I would highly recommend that you would give the cadets a call, and certainly they will take care of that for you. So whereas Canada and its youth have been well served by the cadet organization since 1879, whereas the cadet organizations in Newfoundland and Labrador have operated successfully in many communities since 1949, and whereas the cadet organizations give youth the opportunities to develop citizenship, leadership, and a healthy lifestyle. Therefore, be it resolved that the week of the 27th of September to the 3rd of October 2015 shall be declared Cadet Week in Grand Falls-Windsor, Newfoundland and Labrador. And therefore, all citizens are encouraged to celebrate this special week by conducting celebrations and activities throughout the community. And I'm signing this at Grand Falls-Windsor, Newfoundland and Labrador on the 29th day of September in the year of 2015. So we have some interlude music while we're signing off on these forms. Again, I'd like to congratulate all the volunteers and leaders, and certainly we do appreciate the fact that many of you give of your time to work with our young people. And I don't know if anyone would like to have a few words. Who's speaking? You're speaking? Okay, so I'll step back and you can just introduce, if you know all the folk that's there. If you don't, you let them introduce themselves.
They'll have to introduce themselves because I don't know all of them, so I'll pass it along. My name is Lieutenant Goss, and I am the administration officer with 1916 Beaumont Hamel Army Cadets. Even though I'm wearing blue, I do work with the Army Cadets.
I'm Master Seaman Nicole Wu, and I'm part of 6-7 Windsor Sea Cadets.
Hi, I'm Chief White, Coxswain of 67 Windsor.
I'm Chief Cormac, and I'm the Regulating Petty Officer of 67 Windsor Sea Cadets.
And the other two may have to squeeze over, so we can, I think we're running out of cord. Just back her up.
I am Lance Corporal Cameron, and I'm with Army Cadets.
And I'm Sergeant Power, and I'm with 1916 Army Cadets.
We wanted to thank you, Mayor Hawkins, and council members for inviting us here tonight to witness the signing of the proclamation. Cadet Week has been an annual thing for a number of years now, and it's a fabulous program. I myself am celebrating my 24th year this year involvement with the program.
You're only 26, right?
That's right, I'm only 26. But it's a fabulous program. I just can't walk away from it. I've received so much out of this program, and I just want to continue to give back to it. We're lucky enough in Grand Falls-Windsor to have all 3 units here. We have the Army, Air, and Sea Cadets, so there's lots of opportunity for youth to come out and take part. The Army Cadets parade on Sunday nights from 6 until 9. The Sea Cadets parade on Wednesday nights from also 6 to 9, and the Air Cadets parade on Monday nights from 6 to 9 as well. And that's just our regular parade nights. There's so many other activities. Some of the Sea Cadets tonight are taking part in biathlon training. We have marksmanship, seamanship, field training, flying for the Air Cadets. There's really is something there for everyone. And I encourage anybody watching tonight and anybody with children between the ages of 12 to 18, come out, check out the program. We are always taking new members, and especially this time of the year, it's a great time to come out and join because you're getting in at the start of a brand new training year. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Excuse me. And since you are in the blue,
Double duty.
and since you were flying, I'll let you take this copy back. And again, thank you so much for coming, and we certainly wish you all the best, and have a great week, and certainly a very successful year as well.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right. Look. You want to take these, Okay, thank you so much to the cadets and the volunteers for coming in. Always a pleasure for us to do this event each year to recognize the work that the cadets are doing in our community, and certainly wish them all the best for a very successful year. Okay, we have our agenda in front of us for tonight's meeting, and of course all the minutes from meeting number 451 has been circulated. And are there any errors or omissions in the minutes circulated? If not, I'll have a motion to accept the minutes as they were circulated. Moved by Councillor Finn, second by Councillor Pinsent. All those in favour? Against? Motion is carried. Moving to business rising out of the minutes. Yes, Councillor Finn.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. In the last meeting, I raised an issue with respect to several streetlights that I observed that were not operating in the, including High Street, which was pointed out to me, and and while those streetlights were out on High Street, which are totally within council's control, there was already action underway to get the replacement bulbs, and the work will be underway as soon as those replacement bulbs are in stock. So they will be taken care of. But when I spoke about this in the last meeting, the local advertiser also carried it in the newspaper, and Light and Power did respond to me, and they contacted me directly, sent me an email, called me, and followed up. And I just want to report on that because, I think they responded very timely to me. I had reported this one particular light, excuse me, there's one particular light that had burned out in July or June when I first reported it, and then I reported again in August and again in September, and what I seen to be no action. But from the very first time it was reported, it was acted upon in 2 days and fixed, but it continued not to operate. So it was attended to, but not fixed fully, and there was a number of other reports. So the light continued not to work until September when, based on my complaint in the last meeting, it was finally addressed. So what I learned through that process and getting feedback from the local manager for Light and Power is that they appreciated the complaint and making the public aware of the fact that they have online reporting. So if there's a street light out in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, you can go online or you can call if you're not savvy with computers, and report the pole. All they need is a civic address of where it's closest to a property, and they want, if you can get it, a pole number, which is a silver tag attached to the pole. And the pole number seems to be the best way for them to find a light that's burned out. Their policy, I learned, is that they will fix a light that's burned out within 10 days. So if residents find a light that's burned out, they should report it online or call. They can certainly call me if they wish, or I'm sure any councillors would take that call, or the town staff. So they have lots of avenues to get lights fixed out. I observed last night that there were 5 lights out on Hardy and Union. Just took a drive around. I'm not going to drive every street. You really rely on residents to make those reports. So I will get those specifics and report that to Light and Power myself. But so people, you make your report. If it's not repaired in 10 days, then follow up or let council know about that, because as a council we do pay for those lights. We spend in the vicinity of, or I would say in the vicinity just over $400,000 for street lighting in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. So I just wanted to share the information that I learned, talk about the policy for doing the repairs, and thank Light and Power for responding so quickly to me in following up and explaining the procedure so that I could share it again with the public. So I just want to share that, Mr. Mayor, because it is business arising from our minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Finn, for the information, and certainly I'm sure that people will take advantage of that, and that information is important for all of us. Disbursement report, Councillor Pinsent.
Report of $855,315.21.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Pinsent and second by Councillor Moores. Any questions, discussions on the disbursement report? If not, all those in favour and against, the motion is carried. Moving on to committee reports. First committee report, Economic Development, Tourism. 2 reports, Councillor Coady-Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. The Economic Development and Tourism Committee met on Monday, September 14th at 4:30. In attendance were myself as chair, Mayor Hawkins, Deputy Mayor Manuel, Councillors Finn, Pinsent, and Mercer. Staff were Mike Pinsent, Town Manager Clerk, and Gary Hennessy, the Economic Development Officer. The Midwinter Bivver budget. The Economic Development Officer presented a proposed budget for the 2016 Midwinter Bivver. The committee reviewed the details of the budget, and the Economic Development Officer and Leisure Services Coordinator will continue to work out the details of the event, which is scheduled for February 19th and 20th of 2016. The Economic Development Officer pointed out part of the 2015 objectives is to form a focus group with tourism stakeholders, and I think that should be 2016 objectives, in the area to discuss the town's plans for tourism for the coming year. He will contact various tourism operators in the area and invite them to this focus group in the coming weeks. The goal of the focus group will be to give council some direction as to what areas they should concentrate on in 2016, specifically the former mill and river areas. Down Home Expo 2016, the Economic Development Officer presented information on consumer attendance and vendors at this show held in Mount Pearl in April. He will check with Adventure Central to see if they have ever participated in this show, and if so, what their opinions on it are. The Economic Development Officer will report back to Council, and we will then decide if the town will participate in the 2016 Expo. ICSC Conference and Trade Show. The Economic Development Officer and Mayor will attend the show in Toronto from October 4th to the 7th. We will have a booth at the trade show event, and the Economic Development Officer has already set up appointments with several potential retailers. This is the 5th year we have had a booth at this show, and we have seen tangible results in increased retail in our community in the past few years. Rogers Hockey Night in Canada promotional package. The Economic Development Officer presented a proposal from Rogers TV to advertise on Hockey Night in Canada provincially this winter. The committee reviewed the proposal and decided not to participate at this time. television equipment. The committee discussed the possibility of purchasing its own equipment for the council meetings as well as for use for council messages, etc. The Economic Development Officer will check with local providers on the costs and types of equipment that might be needed to do this. He will report back to council at the next committee meeting. The Joint Flea Market Summary. This past weekend, the town hosted another giant flea market at the Joburn Memorial Stadium. Again, we drew very large crowds to the venue, estimated at 3,000 people. There were almost 85 vendors in attendance as well, which is our largest to date. The committee discussed moving the times from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. to 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. to accommodate visitors from out of town, or just adding an additional hour to the event. There was also discussion about permanently holding the event indoors in the future. The Economic Development Officer will discuss this with the vendors to gauge their opinions on these ideas as well. Other business, an MNL pilot project. The town has been asked to submit an application to municipalities, Newfoundland and Labrador, to be considered for a pilot project in the fall. The project will include a large and small community that would work on a joint project using a readiness assessment toolkit designed for MNL by a consulting company. The committee asked the Economic Development Officer to check with MNL to see if the project is restricted to 2 communities or if 3 can participate as partners on a common project. He will report back to the committee on the results. Our meeting adjourned at 6:50 p.m., and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Coady-Davis, second by Councillor Pinsent. Any questions, discussions on the Economic Development Tourism minutes? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Economic Development Tourism 2.
Economic Development Tourism had a brief meeting on Wednesday, September 22nd at 4:30. In attendance, myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Manuel, Councillor Pinsent, Councillor Moores, and Councillor Mercer. Staff were Mike Pinsent, Town Manager Clerk, and Gary Hennessy, the EDO. The topic was a tourism focus group. The Economic Development Officer presented a list of proposed topics for this focus group. He also presented a list of potential invitees. The committee discussed both lists and recommended that he proceed with the focus group on October the 14th. The goal of this activity is to gather input from tourism operators on what areas the town should be concentrating on from a tourism perspective for 2016. The general public can submit written briefs to the Economic Development Department in advance of the focus group. The Economic Development Officer will prepare a written report on the results of the focus group and present to council. The meeting adjourned at 5 p.m. and I move the recommendation and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Coady-Davis, second by Councillor Moores. Any questions, discussions on the Economic Development Tourism 2? If not, all those in favor? Against, motion's carried. Public Works and Planning. Councillor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Works and Planning Committee met on Tuesday, September 15th at 4:30 p.m. Present were myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Rodney Mercer, Councillor Tom Pinsent, Town Manager Mike Pinsent, Director of Engineering Works Jeff Saunders, Supervisor of Engineering and Public Works Wayne Tate, Town Planner Mary Wang. Correspondence from Mr. Bunnell, issues with neighbor at 39 Dunn Place. The committee reviewed the correspondence and pictures from Mr. Bunnell concerning the trees between his boundary and his neighbor at 39 Dunn. The committee does not consider this to be an enforcement issue, but rather a civil matter between neighbors. The committee recommends that no action be taken at this time. Staff will investigate visibility issues at the end of the driveway. Correspondence, Mr. Penny, development on King Street. The committee discussed a request from Mr. Penny to construct a single-family home on King Street adjacent to Twin Town Manor. The committee recommends approval in principle pending the submission of a development plan. Traffic controller paintings. The committee reviewed the paintings submitted by 2 members of Canvas for traffic controllers. We still do not have enough to do all the controllers. The committee was pleased with the paintings received, but recommends that staff place a call to local residents to determine if there are others interested that are not associated with Canvas. Main Street land rezoning. The committee reviewed the new proposed layout for Main Street West land. The zoning will be changed to RS1 compact, which will result in some frontages being 52 feet. Exact lot size will be determined as lots are sold. The committee recommends approval of the new plan and development process. Development on Party Place, Mr. Adams. The committee reviewed the request from Mr. Adams for an accessory building that is slightly oversized. The lot size is 23,250 square feet, and the overall building area is only 25% of the lot coverage. 40% maximum. The committee recommends the request be approved. Home-based business request, 264 Granville Heights, Pampered Paws. The committee reviewed a request for expansion of the existing home-based business at 264 Granville Heights. This is a discretionary use, and council recommends that it be advertised as per discretionary use process. Main Street access to the T Railway. The committee discussed possible locations for an access from Main Street West in the Wheelers Avenue area to the T Railway. The committee recommends staff identify an access within the present open space and construct necessary control barriers to direct the ATVs to the appropriate areas. Drainage issues, and there are 5: 10 Whitmore Street, Carlton Place, Finn Avenue, Coronation Street, and Pedal Drive. The committee recommends that staff work with residents in these areas to alleviate the issues. Land request, 116 Harmsworth Drive. The committee reviewed a request for additional land at the rear of 116 Harmsworth Drive and recommends it be sold as per policy. Proposed home-based business, portable cabins, 418 Grenfell Heights. The committee discussed a request to construct portable cabins as a home-based business at 418 Grenfell Heights. This is considered a discretionary use. The committee recommends this be advertised as per the discretionary use process. Proposed home-based business, music lessons in a detached garage on 16 Exploits Lane. The committee reviewed the home-based business request for music lessons in a detached garage at 16 Exploits Lane. This is considered a discretionary use, and the committee recommends this be advertised as per the discretionary use process. Land sale at 8 Lincoln Road. The committee reviewed the land sale information for 8 Lincoln Road and recommends it be sold to Mr. Tremlett. 10% administration fee will be added to the Crown Land assessment. Mr. Tremlett will be responsible for the installation of water and sewer. Plastic bag reduction program. The committee reviewed the information presented by Ms. King and also recognized the amount of effort she put into the document. The committee supports the program in principle, but feels it should be a regional program and be presented to the Central Newfoundland Waste Management Committee for their consideration. The Director of Engineering will present this to the Central Newfoundland Waste Management Authority. Capital update. The committee reviewed the capital works program for this year. There are presently 22 projects ongoing for a value of approximately $12 million. This is a very extensive capital program, and the committee recommends the report be accepted. Exploits River development request, Mr. Porter. The committee reviewed a development proposal for Mr. Porter and recommends it be discussed at the next committee of the whole meeting. The meeting adjourned at 8:15 p.m. And Mr. Mayor, I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Moved by Councillor Finn, seconded by Councillor Mercer. Any questions, discussions on the Public Works and Planning? If not, all those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Parks, Recreation, and Special Events. If I can get this machine back here. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Parks, Recreation, Special Events Committee met on Wednesday, September 23rd at 4:30 p.m. President or myself as chair. Councilors Amy Coady-Davis, Rodney Mercer, Tom Pinsent, and Bruce Morris. Staff present were Mike Pinsent, Town Manager, Todd Mercer, Leisure Services Programmer, Keith Antle, Parks and Recreation Foreman, and David Nichols, Director of Parks and Recreation. 2015 Ice Show. The committee discussed the 2015 Ice Show report as presented by the Sparkling Blades Figure Skating Club. The committee referred to the original Ice Show town sponsorship and recommends that the director meet with the club representative to reconcile the Ice Show bill. Correspondence Green Machine Hockey Club. The committee discussed correspondence received from the Green Machine Hockey Club requesting that the town reconsider a previous decision and award the group its former ice time of 8:15 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. on Monday nights. The committee recommends that this request be denied. 2015-16 Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium and Windsor Stadium ice time schedules. The director presented the proposed 2015-16 stadium schedules. The schedules proposed are similar to the 14-15 ice time allotments. The committee recommends that the presented schedule be approved. The committee welcomed Mr. Shane Luckenchuk from Impact Hockey to the meeting at 5:30 p.m. Mr. Luckenchuk presented the committee with a review of Impact Hockey's operations with regards to the past few years and their plans for the future. In particular, he requested that the Windsor Stadium remain open with ice operations until May 15, 2016. Mr. Luckenchuk is prepared to make a guarantee of definite number of ice time hours per week and is prepared to possibly commit to additional hours. It was noted that the two-line hockey and spring hockey contribute to provide a significant economic spin-off to the town due to the number of participants who are from out of town. Overall, he feels that extending the ice season will benefit the town in a positive way. The committee discussed the requests and information presented and informed Mr. Luckenchuk that the requests will be discussed in detail at the next committee meeting. Mr. Luckenchuk was excused from the meeting at 6 p.m. Correspondence Church Road Park. The committee discussed correspondence received from a resident requesting that a bathroom be erected at Church Road Park. The committee recommends that staff investigate possible options and costs and that this item be referred to the 2016 budget deliberations. Update on Church Road Park concerts. The committee discussed this summer's free concerts at Church Road Park. The concerts were a great success and they were well attended. The committee will continue with the free concerts during the summer of 2016 and will consider having weeknight performances. Ulster Accordion Band Proposal. The committee discussed a proposal from the Ulster Accordion Band to perform a comedy, variety, and musical show in Grand Falls, Windsor on June 30th, 2016. All proceeds will go to the Royal Canadian Legion Cenotaph Project. The committee recommends that staff proceed to assist the group to organize this event. Town of Grand Falls, Windsor and Exploits Valley Paintball Association land usage. The director presented the committee with a signed land usage agreement between the Exploits Valley Paintball Association and the town. The committee wishes that the Paintball Association a successful program. Wrestling ring program proposal. The committee discussed a request and cost quotation to purchase a wrestling ring for a wrestling program. The committee recommends that this request be referred to the 2016 budget. Community Healthy Living Grant Funding. The Leisure Services Program presented 3 Community Healthy Living funding grants, which have been approved for a total of $21,400. These grants will be utilized to provide parents and tots and youth and seniors programs. Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium scoreboard, time clock, and shots on goal clock sponsorship agreement proposal. The director presented the proposed Joe Byrne Stadium scoreboard, time clock, and shots on goal clock sponsorship agreement. The committee discussed the proposal and would like to give any groups or businesses the opportunity to be a sponsor. The committee recommends that the presented proposal be approved. Fan Code of Conduct. The committee discussed the revised Fan Code of Conduct presented by staff. The committee recommends that the revised Fan Code of Conduct be approved and that the appropriate signage be erected in the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium and Windsor Stadium. Red Maple Festival, Cranberry Festival update. The committee discussed the Red Maple Festival, which will be held from October 23rd to November 5th. The Leisure Services Programmer has been in contact with the Cranberry Association, and they are organizing a few special events which will be part of this year's Red Maple Festival. The committee noted that any individual or group who wishes to organize and offer any events for the festival can contact the Parks and Rec office at 489-0450. Fall-Winter brochure. The Leisure Services Programmer informed the committee that the department is in the process of completing the schedule of programs and activities which will be offered during the fall and winter. The department has received several program grants and expects to receive more grants in the next few weeks. The fall-winter brochure will be completed and delivered to the resident households in November. And in the meantime, Mr. Mayor, if anybody wants some information on existing programs or what's planned so far, they can certainly contact the Recreation Department on that as well. And the number, as previously mentioned, there is 489-0450. Ice helmet policy. The director presented the committee with a memorandum and a proposed ice helmet policy recommended to be implemented at the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium and Windsor Stadium. The director informed the committee that an ice helmet policy has been implemented in several arenas throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. The purpose of the ice helmet policy is to provide protection and safety for all ice sports participants at the stadiums. The director proposed that the policy be enforced over a 2-month period commencing on November the 1st, 2015. The committee recommends that the proposed ice helmet policy be approved. The policy will begin on November 1st, 2015 and be strictly enforced effective December 1st. Correspondence, Communities in Bloom. The committee discussed correspondence from the 2015 Communities in Bloom Program Coordinator. The coordinator confirmed that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor is a finalist for the Heritage Conservation Outstanding Achievement Award. The winner of this award will be announced on October 2nd, 2015. Correspondence, Exploits Regional Curling Club. The committee discussed correspondence received from the Exploits Regional Curling Club requesting that the town provide assistance with snow clearing, parking, lot grading, and side grading of the rough ground. The club also requests that the town continue to support the operation of the facility with the present annual grant of $15,000. The committee recommends that the curling club requests be approved. Correspondence, Halapu Mi'kmaq First Nations. The committee discussed correspondence received from the Halapu Mi'kmaq First Nations band requesting that the existing monument at Centennial Field Complex be repaired and that Centennial Field Complex be renamed. The committee recommends that staff update and provide any repairs to the monument as necessary at the Centennial Field Complex. The meeting adjourned at 7:20 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor and second by Councillor Mercer. Any questions, discussions on the Parks, Recreation, Special Events? Councillor Finn.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't able to make that meeting, so I was reviewing the information from the meeting in the minutes, and I was intrigued by the ice helmet policy, and I was wondering if any of the committee members want to speak to it. Like exactly what the policy is not really outlined in the minutes, but it is outlined in the attachments. So I'm just wondering if anybody wants to speak to that.
Unfortunately, the director is not here. The director, as mentioned there, presented a proposed policy for ice time wearing helmets for regular sanctioned events at the Joe Byrne Stadium. And as mentioned there's a number of communities, particularly larger communities in the province, who have adopted this policy in the last couple of years, trying to be proactive and preventative in order to avoid some accidents that can occur and have occurred in some other arenas in the province, causing some serious injuries to people. What was discussed was that we would have to set the parameters for which ice time events would require the helmets. So things such as general skating, family skating, senior skating, parents and tots skating, all the skating programs, all the minor hockey programs, figure skating, unless you are an approved national competitor who's allowed not to wear a helmet, helmets will be required. There was a lot of discussion on how we're going to enforce this when it comes to things like birthday parties and rentals. But rentals will be included if they're playing the games and that sort of thing, but the things like after minor hockey tournaments and that, when parents are coming on the ice to take pictures and that, for this point, you won't be required to take a helmet. So there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve in this. We did want to implement it and try it, and we think it's the right move to make, and I hope that satisfactorily answers the question at this point, to the best of my knowledge. I don't know if anybody else that was at the meeting wants to add to that, by all means.
I was a bit curious about how the figure skating, and I think you were probably going to get at that, right? Because I know that, historically, I think probably just the early skaters have actually worn helmets, but when they get to a certain age, then I know that they do have protective headbands, some of them do, like there's certain headbands that the figure skaters can use, but they're not certified helmets, but they do prevent if you have a fall. So I was just wondering if that was part of it and how that would fit in
Yeah,
there.
and that was my question as well. Unfortunately, I had to leave the meeting before that discussion came up. And I was wondering as well, I'm not sure how it would work with figure skating. I don't know if a helmet would be would make the skater more safe. I know they have to have certain flexibility with their head and their neck to do specific twirls and jumps and spins and whatever. And the race, they have to, I don't know the terminology, I've never done figure skating or have anyone involved in it. But I don't know that a helmet would help in that situation, so I would like clarification from figure skating on how a helmet could either help or hinder the figure skaters in their training. I do know that the can skate and the first-time skaters are required to wear helmets, but the different age groups, I've never seen or heard of a policy that would force them to wear helmets that may cause them harm in their training. I know the committee means well in wearing a helmet for protection, but if this could cause harm to the skater by forcing them to wear a helmet, then, you know, it's kind of six one, half dozen the other. What do, you know?
Yeah, I guess, when we discussed this, it was the first time that most of us had seen it when we did, and, we have not set parameters on this totally yet, and there was some discussion about what ifs, how do you handle this? So figure skating and the groups who rent the ice and that sort of thing, we're still going to gather some more information, and like is the same with any policy. If anybody's got any comment or anything, we can look at that, before things are set in stone, so to speak. And of course, we would want to check with the other communities to see what parameters they have as well. But, in terms of the overall policy and having a mandatory helmet, I certainly am in agreement to try to do that within reason. Right?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Deputy Mayor and Coady-Davis, for your comments and explanation. I totally support helmets in every way we can put it into play. So I totally support that. I did go to the policy while we were chatting. I found it in the attachments. And the exceptions on it right now, it says the figure skaters who are registered with Can Skate and have successfully completed the Can Skate program, and any figure skating competition that is sanctioned by Skate Canada or Skate Newfoundland Labrador are exempt from wearing protective helmet during these activities as standard practice in the sport. So basically, figure skating is exempt, except for until you learn and get through the Can Skate programs, the introductory levels, and I guess have established some ability to skate and protect yourself. So I really like the policy. I'm glad the committee brought it forward.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. Notice of motion? No notice of motion. Into other business, and we'll move to Councillor Coady-Davis. You're up first this week. Just keep me straight on this now. Okay, well, she's first this week. Just checking.
I think I've had lots of turns being first, so I wouldn't be
Well,
terribly
I wouldn't-
upset if you did skip me.
Oh, really?
But I only have one
All right,
item,
Deputy
so. Only have one item tonight.
Really?
I do, yes.
That's a first.
It's true, I promise. Unless I change my mind halfway through. No. Just want to refer to the economic development tourism minutes on the submissions from the general public on our economic development and tourism strategies. We will be coming up just in a few days in October, beginning our budget preparations for 2016 and preparing our goals and objectives for economic development and tourism. And we are accepting written submissions from the general public on any suggestions or ideas that they may have on how we can continue to grow tourism tourism and economic development here in Grand Falls, Windsor. So we would ask that you send in your submission in writing. Please include your name, your address, and your telephone number in your submission. And the deadline to submit is October the 8th. So you can send them directly to Gary Hennessy, our Economic Development Officer, and you can get his contact information from our website, grandfallswindsor.com. And that's it.
Councillor Morse, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You notice my name is not on the committee meetings the last couple of
No,
weeks.
you were off to Ireland, eh?
I was off to Ireland and
You
had
had
a
a good
grand
time.
time and even met Newfies over in Ireland. Right
Well,
out-
be
right
careful
out of
with
the
that
blue.
word.
Right out of the blue. I just want to mention you've seen the posters around on the Age Friendly, the Seniors Fair, which is on Thursday. We have, again, this year it's going to be 40 booths at the Joe Byrne. There will be entertainment throughout the day, and there'll be some education sessions on healthy eating and fitness classes, so seniors can learn some things about that. There'll be some fantastic prize draws, so we encourage you to get in early and get your name in. The canteen will be open if you want some fries or burgers or hot dogs, so you can take advantage of that. There'll be a large display of books. So this year, instead of exchanging books, we're going to say, take what you want, they're free. So there's quite a few books that you can add to your collection. It's a great time to meet old friends and to make new ones. And it's your trade show, and we say, come along and get the crowds up because it's free admission. So come along to the Joe Byrne on Thursday. Thank you.
Councillor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hope Councillor Moores don't get beaten up at the seniors fair tomorrow. They're not old, they're seniors.
Thursday. Thursday.
Thursday, anyway. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of things. I'd like to congratulate Kellyanne Sheridan, who was recently named Youth Bowler of the Year for Newfoundland and Labrador in all divisions. So she's a terrific bowler. I speak to her parents often. They tell me about the achievements that she's had. And she last year competed at the national scene and did very well. So I'd like to congratulate Kellyanne on being named Youth Bowler of the Year for Newfoundland and Labrador. In keeping with congratulating people, Colleen Lewis. I'd like to congratulate Colleen on her recent book entitled Mr. Big, about the story of a murder investigation that has had a significant legal impact on the justice system across Canada. It's an interesting read. I'm not through it entirely, but living through the investigation, seeing it daily on the news, I'm very familiar with, as is, I'm sure, everyone in this room and across the province. But I'd encourage everyone to purchase the book and have a read. In keeping on the topic of the justice system, I'd like to congratulate Judge Pamela Golding, who's originally from Grand Falls-Windsor, and who was appointed just yesterday as the Chief Judge of the Provincial Court in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And to add something a little to that, she's the first female appointed to any level in the province's history to become a chief on any bench. So I guess that's a prime example of girl power. So congratulations to Madam Justice Golding. This coming weekend, there's a conference here in Grand Falls-Windsor. Operating room nurses from across the province will be coming here. It's an annual conference, and I think it's the first time in 20 years, 18 or 20 years, that the conference has been held here in Grand Falls-Windsor. So I'd like to congratulate the local participants and everyone coming from across our province. And finally, I'd like to thank Woodland Primary for the invitation that was extended to council for last Friday for participating in the Terry Fox walk and keeping his memory alive and raising money for a good cause. Councillor Pinsent and the Mayor and myself had the opportunity to attend, so thank you again. Anyway, Mr. Mayor, that's it for me.
Thank you. Councillor Mercer, Councillor Pinsent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things from me. Question I've been asked and repeatedly in the press and everything is about the assessments, that the housing assessments are now 15.8% higher, and there's a lot of worried people that we're going to suddenly skyrocket the taxes. So I'd just like to take a minute again to explain that generally where the 15.8% comes from, it's the Municipal Assessment Agency have done a reassessment of house values, home values, based on the market value from 2014. And so just because there's a 15.8, it's a good news really when you think about it, because your home values have gone up, they haven't declined, which is a good thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to see your taxes go up by 15.8%. So I'd like to, once again, I've been asked numerous times now about this, and there's a grave concern out there. So I'd like to sort of say it's not us that raised at 15.8% already. It was a municipal assessment agency's assessment based on the market value of homes. So just like to put people's view, we'll go into the budget, we'll speak about it in a second. I'd like to congratulate the town staff. They did it once again with Gorge Park. We had a grand open in Gorge Park finally. And our MC, Deputy Mayor, emceed it, and very well done, I must say. You're getting better. We're teaching you well.
And it was a gorgeous evening.
It was a beautiful evening. It was a bit cool, but they had the fire going and hot dogs and everything else. And of course, anybody who's been down to Gorge Park, and we've had a lot of people going down there, it's one of our best kept secrets, but it's slowly getting more. And it is a sight to see, no doubt about it. And of course, bringing on to that, and the Deputy Mayor mentioned it in his comments is that this is just really the beginning. As the Grand Falls House properties, we decide what we're going to do with that, the plan coming up with it, and not just Grand Falls House, but the properties themselves and the development. When the mill comes down, the mill demo, so it's it's part of a complete tourism strategy that, and I think the Councillor Coady-Davis mentioned it as well, that that we're looking at. So I know the Deputy Mayor said it that evening, and I would reiterate that we're looking for public support, we're looking for public input. This is one of the growth areas that we want to really concentrate on going forward with this council and probably hopefully in future councils. I remind everybody about the art procurement. Art procurement is the 24th of October, around noon. Submissions are being accepted. I believe that's right. Director of Finance, that's correct. And they send everything to you? I'm telling everybody to send everybody to you, so I better be correct.
Submitted to the front desk.
Front desk, and Barry Griffin will have a good look and make sure it meets all the requirements. It was good to see on Main Street, to see a house and a development starting. It was good to see some development in that land that's been cleared. So once again, hats off to the engineer. And of course, speaking of our town engineer and our Director of Parks and Rec, happy birthday, belated. You do look a little older, but...
I was wondering if we could zoom the camera over in on that empty seat.
Yes.
But we do have...
And that's not the Director of
Happy
Engineering,
birthday,
by the way,
old timer.
it'll be the person next to
That's our Recreation Director.
And he met John Bolivar. I'm surprised that's
And we
not
put
there.
on Jeff. Jeff is a real person, right?
Yeah. But happy birthday. I never got a chance to say happy birthday to you. You took that day off, so happy birthday. And that's it from Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess first of all, I'd like to join Councillor Mercer and congratulations to Colleen Lewis and Chief Justice Pam Goling. Two great accomplishments for them individually, and very impressive. Very impressive. So certainly congratulations from me. Mr. Mayor, in the Public Works minutes tonight, and in our committee meeting, we did take an opportunity to review the capital plan or capital program for 2015, and it outlined $12 million in capital projects going on right now, 22 different projects, and one of those projects happens to be street resurfacing. So that's one project, but that's actually, it's more like 20 projects within one. But it's just how we do our review. And so of $12 million in capital, like there's $5 million being spent in street resurfacing. And that's again this year, and it was like it was last year. So council's really taken hold of investment in asphalt, and I think the residents notice it. And I think it's important to our residents, and it certainly contributes to having a beautiful town, and it certainly improves accessibility for all of our residents. So, investing that kind of money into our infrastructure, I think it's important to report on exactly what we're doing in terms of what streets. So I'm going to take a minute and I'm just going to identify the streets that are named this year. And I'm going to also identify the streets that we've done last year, because that's, with respect to this council, we've gone through 2 years of street resurfacing and have made significant investments. And I just want to review it quickly, Mr. Mayor. In 2015, what's going on this year, the arterial road, which is the connection between Park Street and Tulip Drive to connect up the arterial road, Beaumont Avenue, Crescent Heights, Cromer Avenue, Duggan Street to the Trans-Canada Highway, Exploits Avenue, Exploits Lane, First Avenue, Goodger Avenue, Grenfell Heights, Hardy Avenue, Hill Road, Main Street, Maloney Street, Polygon Road, Power Street, the stadium parking lot, Station Road, Tulip Drive, Union Street and Goodger intersection where we've done the lights, Valley Road, Victoria Street, and we're going to do some paving at the Youth 2000 Centre. Those are projects that are either complete or ongoing, and some of that work, I haven't given you the status. I've only telling you what streets were identified, so some of that work will continue right up until probably the snow flies, and if any of those streets are not done this year, they will just carry over to next year, but it would be weather that stops us. It's all tendered work and described work. Mr. Mayor, equally important, just for review, in 2014, we done work on Bazan Street, Brown Avenue, Cater and Edwards, Church Street, Country Road, Cromer Avenue, Duggan Street, Esbury, Elliott Street, Empire Drive, Gardner Street, Grenfell Heights in the upper section, what we call Phase 7, and Grenfell Heights in the area 63 to 101, Ireland Drive, Junction Road, Knight Street, Muir Avenue, Railway Road, Scott Avenue, 2nd Avenue, 7th Avenue, Snow Crescent, and Union Street. So, Mr. Mayor, we've made, as I said, we've made a significant impact on paving, and we'll continue to focus there. We have about 120 kilometers of pavement in the road to work on, and with a 20-year lifespan, we need to at least address a minimum of 6 to 7 kilometers of pavement a year to keep up with pavement that will just depreciate naturally over time. So I just wanted, I thought it was important to report that, Mr. Mayor. I also wanted, Mr. Mayor, to talk briefly about the conflict of interest statement that we're putting forward as a council to MNL. We agreed as a council that we would put forward a conflict of interest policy, or excuse me, resolution. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, a resolution, so that MNL would take, they would begin to accept it as an issue and lobby for clarity in terms of what conflict of interest, or whether or not there's a conflict of interest when councillors step forward to become candidates for elected office provincially or federally, which would be the case for you at the moment. And Councillor Mercer stepped forward as a candidate some time ago.
And several in the past.
And several in the past, and you're not the only one this year in terms of municipally elected mayors or councillors that's come forward for office. So we received a letter from a resident, Mark Griffin, outlining his concern to us about conflict of interest, because the conflict of interest policy for council in the Municipalities Act really refers to monetary benefits. So it's, not participating in decisions or discussions where monetary benefits can come to you personally or to friends. And I think when these situations arise, of course, there's no monetary impact that we're really deciding on, but there is, I suggest, conflict that comes out of it naturally. And it's for that reason that we have worded a motion, and I don't think we've really addressed it as a council in minutes in committee of the whole. But we do have a motion that I've seen, that I accept as something that we've finalized. I assume so. Other councillors can comment, that will or have already gone forward to M&L to be debated on the floor in November. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I just want to make the residents aware that it is an issue that we're aware of. It is an issue that we talked about and we're going to deal with in a direct way. Probably, I would say probably one of the only municipalities that would be coming forward with an issue to debate that. I'm not aware of any others, but
I think there may be one other municipality that's probably a resolution similar to ours, Councillor Finn, that's going forward.
Is that
so? I think there's probably two that will be going forward.
Two with the same.
And what they'll probably do is they may combine the two, and like one would make the motion, the other would second it, like when we have an opportunity to discuss it on the floor. So rather than having the two separate resolutions, more than likely M&L will combine them into the one.
Right.
And then they'll present that for the body to discuss.
Yeah. So I don't really need to speak any further to it, other than say it is an important issue and we take it serious. I take it serious, and council has acted on it. So I think we'll just let it rest there, and hopefully the Municipalities Act can address it in some formal way. Thank you.
Which is the process.
Yeah.
Because obviously right now we know that the Municipalities Act is not very, when it comes to that type of leave, is not very clear at all. And obviously that will be something that the resolution that will be proposed at the convention floor then obviously will be discussed. And if there are a majority of municipalities that are in agreement with that type of resolution, then obviously the path in which we'll take is that M&L will then will advocate on behalf of all the municipalities to Municipal Affairs to have something stipulating within the Municipalities Act, and I would suspect that they would do their investigation to see if it can legally be done, or if those restrictions can be put in there, and then obviously then they will get back to M&L. So that's how it will work basically.
For further clarity, Mr. Mayor, I mean, we did seek advice to the municipal affairs about, what action we could take unilaterally as a council. And it was recommended that we not take any unilateral action, that we follow a process where we can get perhaps get the act changed. We decided to go this route, but it wasn't seen to be, because the act was silent on the matter, it wasn't seen to be an avenue that we could just go act unilaterally because it was silent. I think that'd be a fair summary of it. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things there this evening. First of all, I'd just like to throw out some congratulations to a couple of local baseball teams. First, the Pee Wee boys baseball team, who won the provincial AA championship this year and traveled to Nova Scotia for the Atlantics and represented us really well. Had a great time, and they finished the tournament 2-2. A good showing, just missed making the playoffs, and had some really exciting games. I was following the scores and that kind of stuff, and I know they had some real close games, so congratulations to that team. And also back on, I think it was around September the 11th, the Pee Wee Girls Atlantics were hosted by Grand Falls-Windsor, and it was a fantastic tournament. I had the pleasure of going down and witnessing most of the games. Our girls came away with a silver medal, beaten only by the team from Nova Scotia, who I should mention were made up of a bunch of different communities, so sort of a provincial all-star team they had together, and tough to compete with, but our girls represented us really well, and as usual, town staff did a fantastic job on the fields. There were a lot of comments from people from other communities about how well manicured the fields were, and of course it was great to see the games being played under the lights as well, which everybody's very appreciative of. And just keeping in line with baseball, I'd also like to throw out congratulations to Terry Hamilton. Terry is the outgoing president of minor baseball this year, and everybody here, I'm sure a lot of other people realize that Terry's been involved in minor baseball, particularly in the last few years, and has done yeoman's work really in bringing our association up to the upper crust of associations in this province, and other communities look at that, and you look no further than this year's Blue Jays camp when the Blue Jays alumni came down and had that great 2-day camp, and he's brought in a professional coach from Alberta on another season to train the coaches, and went through the application process for the Jays Cares Foundation and managed to get $150,000, approached Tech and got $50,000. So Terry, over the last few years, has really put his heart and soul into that association, and certainly his efforts have bared fruit, and he will be sorely missed, but I wish him all the best in the future. Sticking with congratulations, I got one more to throw out, and that's a good friend of mine over the years, Marie Knight. And Marie Knight, most people in Grand Falls-Windsor, I'm sure, are familiar with. I know Councillor Moores would be through his umpiring, and before that, I'm sure other activities involved with softball and broomball in Grand Falls-Windsor. Marie Knight has volunteered for softball in Grand Falls-Windsor for 53 years. So she figured it's time to give it a break.
Almost as old as I am.
53 years of volunteering, I mean, is just amazing when you think about it. And
Amazing, he's right.
Marie's just dedicated her life to softball particularly, and formerly to broomball. The former ladies' leagues back in the 70s, the fast pitch leagues, and then of course slow pitch when it got bigger as the years went on. Marie was very heavily involved, and Marie's face is down around the field, and I hope it still is, and I'm sure it will be in the years to come. But what I really admire about Marie is that it was never about Marie. It was never about Marie. She would do whatever she can to do the best she could to make sure things were organized, everybody was doing things as they should, and if they weren't, she would tell you fairly quickly, which is another admirable attribute of Marie's, by the way. But I just wanted to congratulate her. Of course, I did have the honor of attending the year-end banquet there, and they had a nice do for Marie as well as the league itself, and a lot of presentations to Marie, and some tears were shed. And after 53 years, I mean, it's certainly a long time. But Marie, I hope she enjoys her retirement from volunteering for softball, and she's involved in a lot of other things as well, of course, and has been for many years. I won't go through them all, but certainly one of our best volunteers in our community over the years, and I wish her well. Councillor Finn, I'm glad he mentioned some of the capital program and talked about the paving, because I get a lot of comments around town from residents who say, boy, I mean, there's a lot of activity going on. It's good to see the pavement, especially the asphalt. A lot of streets in town seeing asphalt for the first time in decades. And, we'd like to be able to continue to do that, down that road, I'll say, and to be able to continue to pick the streets that are in most need each year, and continue that asphalt resurfacing program, because it is being done very well. And when it comes to the capital program, I mean, we really sometimes don't toot our own horn enough. There's a lot of activity, and a lot of things going on in this town, especially if you talk to people from outside our town. People from other communities, particularly Newfoundland, Labrador, when they come to town, are really amazed with the amount of work that's going on here. And not only the beautiful facilities that we already have, but things like Gorge Park, and things like the ball field clubhouses and the lighting, and things like the brand new splash pad and playground, and the playground that will be finished on Main Street, the dogs park, the lights. I mean, there's all kinds of water and sewer work going on. Some stuff has been completed, some other stuff is ongoing, and as Councillor Finn said, with the resurfacing, no different with the other capital projects, some will be pushed over to 2016 because of various factors, but just a huge amount of work. I mean, lights, and there's going to be a new depot built on Centennial Field. The old one will be coming out of that, which is badly needed in that area as well. The water treatment plant is going to see upgrades, something that never gets neglected around here. The Excite building is getting repairs to the roof. The YMCA is getting work done, and The list goes on and on and on. There's a long, I won't go through everything in detail, but I just wanted to follow up on what Councillor Finn had to say, because you know, we're doing good work in this community, and you should look around to some of the other communities and see what kind of capital programs they have in recent years especially, and really there's not much comparison. We've been ahead of the pack when it comes to the work we're doing, and it certainly makes Grand Falls-Windsor a better place to live, and that's what it's all about, isn't it, for a lot of different reasons. One last thing I have, had the opportunity to sit in on a conference call this afternoon with a meeting with the ADM of Transportation Works for the province, and we discussed a couple items. One, just to give people an update on the mill demolition. Of course, people now are seeing some actual movement down there. For the first few months, there was a lot of interior work that wasn't really visible to the naked eye, but now they've got the excavators down there, they're digging away at the concrete and starting to knock some things down. We're told that that project is on schedule. Of course, the timeline was 18 months, we have been told, and of course we're pretty close to 6 months in now, if we're not already. So we would hope that this time next year that the mill will be demolished, and then it will be on to what happens with the lands after that. So that is on schedule and progressing as it should at this point. We did have some discussion on the mill lands and what will happen in the future. Of course, our town will be very interested in those lands. We're talking about riverfront development. We're talking about development in those areas for the future and how it can benefit our community. And it's crucial. I mean, there are going to have to be some evaluations done, I guess, of the property itself, the ground, and I'm understanding that there were some engineering, environmental tests done probably a few years ago, and the results weren't too bad, but of course what's right here and 10 feet across could be different. So once the building is down, I'm sure environment will have to get involved, and then we will look to do some more testing of the grounds, because when it comes to planning, whatever can be built there certainly impacts our ability to be able to decide what should go there. So that's something we will be getting after the province about, I'm sure, as the mill demolition continues to wind down. And lastly, of course, we talked about our last council meeting, the Grand Falls House. We had written a letter to the Minister of Transportation requesting a meeting with the Economic Policy Committee at Cabinet. We're hoping to hear an answer on that soon, but we did not get an answer on when that meeting would be. Right now, the province still owns the Grand Falls House and is looking to turn it over to the town, and we feel that there should be provincial involvement in terms of some financial help in order to make that happen, because there is a fair amount of financial investment right from the remediation of the property to potential investment into to business opportunities and that and programming that may happen there. But certainly this property is not just about saving Grand Falls House. I mean, we, again, referring to the riverfront development, this property, the house, is something that could really fit in well with the overall development down there, and hence, you know, be a boost to the economy and attract more visitors and just be a piece of the overall tourism strategy down there. We also spoke last meeting about the Grand Falls House report. I know it's gotten some media attention lately. I know Councillor Finn had suggested that we release the report, and at the time I agreed wholeheartedly with that, but did think that we should probably wait to see if we're going to get the meeting from the province, because the local Grand Falls House Committee suggested that maybe we would not want to release the report until after we meet with the province. And my sense after the meeting today is that meeting is probably not going to come anytime soon. And with that said, I'd certainly be in favor and ask for support of council that we do release that Grand Falls House report so that the citizens can have the opportunity to have a look at it themselves, provide feedback and ideas and opinions on that detailed report. It's some 120, 130 pages, I think, prepared by the consultants, and I think it's only fair and it's time that it does get out to the general public, and I'm looking forward to hearing comments back. So I don't know if anybody else wants to have anything to say on that, but I'd certainly like to see us release that ASAP. And that's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. 2 things. You have 2 things. Yes.
It's unusual, I know.
It's terribly unusual.
Well, we've had a discussion on the capital program, and all of us get comments on it, you know, about how much work is going on and big projects. I mean, Douglas Street is a big project. Hardy Avenue is a big project. Gilbert Street is a big project. And I just want to talk about the cost of this, because everyone says you're doing a lot of work. It's costing a lot of money. And just to put things in perspective, in 10 years ago, the funding program for municipal works was 50-50. And if we did $10 million worth of work, it would have cost the municipality $5 million. If we do 10 million now with our current funding program of 70-30, it would cost $3 million. So this is what we're paying. Like for $10 million, it's cost $3 million and not 5. But the other advantage we have now, over 10 years ago, is we get gas tax money, which is about $600,000 that we don't contribute to. So now our $10 million is costing us $2.4 million. So, you know, we've planned for this very aggressive capital works campaign for quite some time to take advantage of the funding programs being so lucrative as they are as we speak. So yes, we're doing quite a bit of work, but it's costing us, you know, somewhere around 25%. And you know, we've just got to make hay while the sun shines, because you know, at some point in time, economic conditions could deteriorate, and you know, people say they have in the province now, and we may have to curtail our capital spending. So it's only pertinent and prudent and fiscally responsible that we do this now. Secondly, the second point I wanted to bring up was we've not only done a lot of capital works this year, but we've done a lot of maintenance work. And I think everybody sees, you know, the huge amount of work we've done in Parks and Recreation, not only in capital, but in programming, in maintenance of fields, in getting everything up and running, and in public works with our water and sewer and curb and gutter. All the work that we've done has been phenomenal, and our productivity is high. You know, we've done our work safely, and unfortunately, there's only so much money to keep these work crews going, and on Friday we have our seasonal layoff. So I'd just like to commend these, you know, the men that are being laid off for the work that they've done throughout the summer, and the work, and our permanent employees, of course, who are staying on. But we've got a fair number of workers who will be laid off on Friday. So I publicly thank them for their efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. By the time it gets around to me, there's nothing left. But I know I had talked to Candace Sheridan and with regard to Kellyanne, of course, being recognized as the Female Bowler of the Year. And I certainly, on behalf of all of council, I know Councilor Mercer already mentioned that, but she's only 10 years old. And she has certainly already, you know, received the silver medal nationally, and now been recognized by the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. So certainly she's going to be doing quite well for sure. The other item that I did want to mention is a workshop that's coming up, and it's an emergency preparedness for persons with disabilities. And if there are people that are out there listening, you haven't turned off your TVs yet. October the 3rd at 1 o'clock to 3 p.m. It's going to be at the Windsor Pentecostal Church in the school complex. And you can register online. You can register at kwhite@codnl.ca, or you can phone 709-722-7011. And this particular session will be how to plan and prepare for an emergency. Are you a person with disability, a family member, or a community organization that supports a person with disability? then this workshop is certainly for you. And we certainly want to encourage as many people as possible to get involved with the Coalition of Persons with Disability. They've been doing a tremendous amount of work throughout the province. I know that firsthand that they actually have an office in our M&L office in St. John's. I know they're quite active in doing provincial promotion and particularly highlighting people with disabilities to make sure that that our facilities are such that if there's an emergency that they can be accommodated. And so a lot of cases within even our own houses and homes with persons with disabilities, we need to know and be prepared in case there's an emergency. So again, this is for anyone. It can be a person with disability, it can be just a family member or a community organization. And you will, during that 2-hour session, certainly be able to learn some very worthwhile information with regards to emergency preparedness for persons with disabilities. And that is it for me for tonight. And we'll have a motion to adjourn. It's moved by Councillor Moores and second by Councillor Pinsent. And we will see you all in 3 weeks.